Welcome to another episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media. And today, drop your pencils and grab your weapons, for we're delving into the Belko experiment and Battle Royale.
Yeah.
I'm Mitch.
Yeah. I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jonathan.
So let's go into the Belko experiment first.
Sounds good.
What were your initial thoughts on these movies?
Hated them. No,
on Belko experiment at least.
Least favorite movie ever.
Yeah. No, the Belko experiment I thought is an enjoyable movie because of the cast. If it had been any other cast, then I think the movie would have flopped.
I could agree with that sentiment. I like the movie because it's like Office Space meets Battle Royale.
It had the awkward funniness of Office Space at certain moments.
My only problem is that they don't use office supplies to kill each other.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had thought about too.
Well, that one chick, she used that paper slicer
to
chop that guy down. She didn't actually kill him, though.
She cut his what is that?
His Achilles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She cut the back of it. That's like that's shown a lot in the movie.
It's a useful skill to have.
I think of Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I was just going to say Kill Bill, but then you
Stole
did
it.
So
Dang.
you did it. You swiped it, finessed.
Hey, swipe or no swiping.
Your name is Buck, right?
Yeah.
And you're here to fuck. Smash his head and door.
We got the tape dispenser kill too. Let's not forget that one.
Heavy ass tape dispenser.
I did enjoy the tape dispenser kill. It was such an iconic moment. Just the shot of him raising it up in this, like the silhouette,
While
and
the
just
training
bringing it
video
down
plays in the
again.
background. Now is your moment. And he fucking kills him at the end of that.
Yeah. I don't know. The Belko experiment's funny and also a fun time, but like it's kind of weird. It's a weird movie, I gotta say.
I don't know. I felt like comparatively Battle Royale was a little like quirkier than Belko. I mean, there were definitely some quirky, funny moments in Belko experiment, but I felt like Belko it made me feel very like tense, watching it.
Oh yeah, they get really serious at some
Yeah.
points. And you're like, oh, this is like a very serious, brutal movie.
You kind of feel for these people. You feel for, like the COO of the company who's going through this. Like, you kind of like, okay, this guy seems kind of sound and reasonable. Like, he's trying to calm people down, get them water, help them out. And then, like, he comes to realize that he's, like, taking his, like, tactical training into account. And now he's just like, yeah, I'm going to need weapons.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who turned into the villain?
We're going to need to get everyone up. Get everyone up against the wall. Old people over here, young people over here with kids.
I call this team... I have a name for them. Give me a moment. For this team of people that all like grab the guns and everything, they are called the corporate bootlickers.
Incels. Oh, okay, yeah.
Bootlickers.
It works. It works.
They are the corporate bootlickers, and they are all terrible. They are all awful. All of them are terrible. Especially Creepy Cox.
Yeah.
Which is not the name of that actor, but he is Dr. Cox.
Yeah, on Scrubs.
On Scrubs, yeah. He's
Yeah.
Dr. Cox.
He's Dr. Scrubs.
Yeah, he's
talking
Dr.
about,
Scrubs, right? No.
I just kept
fucking
seeing
scrub.
him do his like happy dance that he does on that show, but like it was inappropriate for the movie.
You're talking about John C. McGinley, right?
Yes, that's who I'm talking
That's
about.
who it is.
He plays Wendell Dukes, like
Yes.
the socially awkward guy that doesn't know how to take signs.
Doesn't know how to take no for an answer.
I mean,
Yeah,
especially
no fucking
from.
kidding.
I mean, if you're watching Scrubs at all at some point, because I know it's on all the streaming things. If you've ever watched it, it's a very big character switch for him too.
Yeah, for real.
It's a lot different, like watching him do this on this particular movie. Anyway,
That's really interesting because the only thing I know him from is Stan vs. Evil, which is a really bad show from Hulu, but like it's kind of funny. It's basically like he's just an old man in the woods trying to retire, and like demons come out of the woods, and he's just like, I wanted to get beer today. It's just like, oh look, there's Cthulhu. Fuck, like it's really dumb. I guess we could just go into a little bit of the production notes because the cast is very stellar.
Yeah, they had a really good cast. They have a few people from Guardians of the Galaxy as well in the film.
So I'm glad you brought that up because it was written by James Gunn.
Yeah, which is like, what
Nice.
the fuck? He's written a lot of just random shit.
but I mean, this isn't outside of anything James Gunn's
No.
done. This dude used to work on trauma movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, like we can't.
Yeah.
We've
So-
talked about one of the movies before.
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah,
a
he
few
did the
trauma
fucking
films.
Scooby Doo movies too. That's right.
Which ones?
The one with Big Titty Velma.
Oh, shit.
Oh, the live action one.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
So it makes sense that he would make something like this.
so this movie was released in 2016. It was directed by Greg McLean It was released in the U.S. by under Blumhouse's name.
Right.
It had a budget of $5 million and it grossed $11.1 million in the box office.
So it made some money. It was not a complete flop.
But it stars some pretty good guys. John Gallagher Jr. as Mike Milch. He's been in something else. I know it.
I don't know what else he's been in. We should look that up real quick.
We really should. Tony Goldwyn as Barry Norris. He's also super recognizable. I just don't remember where. Adria Arjona as Leandra Flores. You got John C. McGinley, of course. Sean Gunn, James Gunn's little brother, as Marty, the stoner cafeteria worker.
That guy's great.
I love him.
He's fucking
it's
awesome.
in the water, man.
That would be me, honestly. Like, drink that fucking water. You know what they put in that shit? Fucking fluoride and shit. Man.
He's like,
or just on the roof, and he's like, you know, you guys all, it's just all in your heads. What's going on right now? It's all in your heads. And then the chick's head explodes next to him, and he's just like,
traumatized.
That
for the
was
rest
like
of the
his
film.
whole mantra. His head didn't explode, though. He died from something else, right?
He got shot in the throat.
Yeah, I just remember
That
there was
sucks.
a scene where he was like, it's all in my head, as everybody's heads are exploding around him. Like, yeah, it's definitely in your head, bro.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, this is one of those things. The movie struggles a little bit with like tonal shifts and things like that, and that's kind of one of the big things with this one is it doesn't know when to be funny and when to be serious right away, and it has a lot of those weird like, all right, so this is kind of a funny moment, and now we're gonna get to like mass murder
That
and then back
was
to funny.
Also one of my critiques. It did not handle transitions very well when it came to switching between those two, because that's like the hardest thing to make is a horror comedy. And so the transitions were rough whenever you went to like funny joke, someone just got their head smashed in. You're like, oh.
like that whole scene with the water. Like it happens right after people get murdered.
And it's just not
and,
funny.
And the guy's like, oh, the floor is going to get moldy. And you're supposed to laugh, but it kind of feels weird.
What a fucking line though. Like they spill water everywhere. Everyone just had their heads blown up and people are trying to kill each other. And the thing you're concerned about is the mold that this water will make.
It's like,
on the
sir,
building.
you may die soon. Why are you caring about cleanliness in this moment?
I feel like that's a
though.
great commentary on people who work in an office, though.
I
They
think-
worry about dumb shit like that.
No, yeah. I think it could also be representative of how people cope with like a dramatic event
that's
like
true.
that by using
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah,
I
he was
think
awkward.
that's something that people definitely do a lot, especially when they feel uncomfortable in any situation, is to use humor to lighten the mood.
Agreed.
And that's like something I wanted to talk about with you guys. Like, how do you feel like when people are put into these dire situations, people change their nature? And so like from these movies, like what you saw, like what did you get out of it? And like, do you think that the human natures that were displayed in this movie was well executed? Like how they shift.
I think it definitely shows the types of reactions, especially like how you had sorted out everybody into their own groups. Each group had a certain way that they would handle the situation. Like the corporate bootlickers, they obviously had all the power in the first place. They knew where everything was. They kind of had the upper hand, and they wanted to take control of the situation,
Also,
make sure that they came out on top.
yeah, at least one of them was military trained too. So.
Yeah, I think two of them
corporate
were.
dog. I mean,
It was the COO and the creepy guy, right?
Yeah, it was like I think no, it wasn't Boomer Dad. I don't think Boomer Dad teamed up with the corporate bootlickers.
no, he went off on his own.
Yeah, he went rogue.
So that the corporate bootlickers, it is the team of the COO, the fucking weird Wendell dude, a giant fat guy with a beard who is unnamed,
Yeah,
and Terry, who is like the one English guy
Yeah.
from like overseas, who has a family and like is friends with Mike Milch.
he's kind of that dude who joins the mean group because he wants to be accepted, but he's not as tough.
And that's
yeah,
why that's
it's like
why
shitting his pants the whole time.
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to bring up, because like with both of these movies, it describes how people who are awkward or social outcasts, when they are given like the little bit of power, their whole dynamic changes in a dire situation. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Stanford prison experiment.
I've read and
Yes.
heard a lot about that in my psych classes.
Do you want to explain
what
it
a
for people who don't
failure
know
of
what
an
it is?
experiment.
So this was an experiment. I think this happened in, the 80s?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Like
in
late
Stanford, they were
70s.
running a psychological experiment where they wanted to see how people would react in positions of power. So they had a group of young men. Half of them were assigned to be prisoners, and half of them were assigned to be prison guards. Now, they didn't really give them any other instructions besides that, but the people were basically in the school in, like, a lower part, which they converted into, like, a makeshift prison. And they set them loose for about 3 weeks to see how they would react. And the people who were in charge as prison guards were acting very violently towards the prisoners, basically like robbing them of all humanity, humiliating them. And they were never told to do this, but given that position of power, they automatically came into that idea of how they should treat the prisoners.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I felt like was with that particular group. They were kind of just like, Wendell especially is like the prime example. He's like a nobody. He's a creep. Doesn't take no for an answer from like girls. Like he's just a bad person.
Well, they tried to use the excuse that they were trying to stay alive to protect their families, like trying to justify what they were doing. And it ended up just being like kind of they were hiding behind the fact that they're all probably violent inherently.
I think honestly all humans are inherently violent. We just do a really good job at keeping it down, you know?
A good play off of that, Justine. I think it like movies like this. I think it really depends on what your outlook on humanity is as a
Definitely.
whole, into how you are going to portray these characters interacting with this situation. So you're going to have clearly you're going to have people who attempt to like get together and then control the situation and
Definitely.
then do what they want. And then you have people like like MVP Evan, the security guard.
Yeah.
Is the great. He stood in the line of duty
Yeah,
and
he
protected
was like
these
pure
people.
justice. He represented justice and ultimately was shot down. Well, he was stabbed down, actually.
Yeah, he got stabbed in
Yeah.
the stomach. That sucks.
There was
Oh, that made me so sad.
there was that excellent scene where Barry, the COO, wants the guns. And Evan has the keys. He's the security guard. And he says, you know what? I think it's best I hold on to these. He says, well, you understand, Evan. You work for me.
Yeah.
Give me the fucking keys. And he's like,
Then I
well, if that's the thing, I quit. And I'm going to hold on to these. Which is like lawful good in its best form.
I loved how excited they were in the elevator after the main character, what's his name, Mulch?
Michael
Milch?
Milch.
He shoots the
The
gas
blowtorch.
canister for the blowtorch, and then they
Yeah.
get into the elevator, and he's like, yo, that was hardcore. Now they know who they're fucking with.
What was that line that one girl said? She was like, are you going to suck his dick
Yeah,
or
she's
what?
like, you want to blow him and just get it over with?
Well, Mitch, what were the other groups that you grouped up in? Like within
Yeah, you
Belko
had-
All right,
Experiment?
so while watching this movie, I was rooting for people. You know, you root for people in these movies.
It's a battle royale, so you're like,
You know,
yes.
me and Mur also kind of went over, like, I kind of went over my head, like, what would I actually do, like, ahead of time, because they're like, they introduced the situation where you're in danger and whatnot, and then I'll go over that, of course, in a little bit, but the groups that I had set aside, the teams I had were the Cubicle Gabbers. I forget their names, but Danny was one of them at a time because she just showed up as like the new one, and it's the two
Yeah.
cubicle. You know, it's
the gossip gals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those. The
okay.
Cubicle Gabbers basically is what I called
So
them.
I think it was the black girl, the gay dude, and
And
then
then Danny was hanging out with them,
Yeah,
but she goes
Danny.
rogue later on, though.
and then probably the lady with glasses who talks to the nerd next to her,
Yeah.
who's like always fiddling with something and has like ants for pets, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like all those people, I think, fit into that category.
He's also that actor. He's the guy who's like, oh, everything's fine, it's great, and then his head blows up.
Yeah.
He's in a really good show called Silicon Valley. If you
Yep.
haven't seen it, it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, but he's in there. Regardless, so that was one of the teams were the Cubicle Gabbers. I called them that. I have the mechanics. So
Lonnie
they're like the
and
what's up?
Lonnie and what's his name?
Merle?
No, it's not.
No, it's
Merle.
not Merle, but it might as well
not
be the
quite.
Oh, wait.
same actor.
It's Lonnie and Bud.
Really? They just called him
Bud.
Bud?
I liked them because in the very beginning they're like trying to work things out. They're like buddy and everything, and then his buddy just breaks. Of
What
course,
a
Yeah,
sad
he cracked
death.
under fear.
it was really the saddest death. It's like
Yeah.
the first one too.
I was expecting him to make it a lot further, just considering like the characters he's played. You
Yeah.
know, he
My-
seems like a
Definitely.
pretty tough dude, but he was taken down by surprise.
I mean, that's the thing.
Wrench
Like
to the head.
Oh,
his friend was just cowering in fear, and it was someone turned the alarm on,
Yeah.
and then it was just like adding to it. So he just broke under pressure, and Danny was there to actually watch it, and Danny actually gets the kill on Lonnie.
Yeah. She
and
pushes him back by accident into
there's-
some nails.
There's the one scene where her and the gay guy get into the elevator, and they're like, so to win this game, the person with the most kills
Yeah.
will be able to leave.
Gives the tally.
Danny has one kill. The guy
Stops
slowly
hugging her.
takes his arm off of her.
Oh yeah, that's
Just removes his arm from her
He's just
shoulder.
like, no,
He's like,
excuse
"All
me, I don't
right."
think we can
Okay.
do this.
Did you have any more groups or no?
Boomer Dad isn't really a group, but I just liked him.
No,
'cause
he
just
went rogue.
Yeah, he went rogue and rolls out with the fucking Molotovs and whatnot. So I was stoked on Boomer Dad. Evan, the security guard, we already talked about him. MVP.
The stoner cooks.
And then there's the stoner cooks, which are all great. You have another
Love 'em.
like, oh man, you have like the Kevin of the Office hanging out with him.
Yeah, just like the shit's from Panama. It's not that strong. No, right?
I think I saw some fucking comment while looking up stuff for this movie. I saw some comment about it that was like, why didn't they check? How did he get his weed in there if they were checking everyone? Who's like,
That's
Panama
true.
shit. It's not that strong.
Okay.
It's so stupid anyway.
There's
That's all
ways
the
to
group.
hide
That's all the
smell.
groups I really have, and the corporate bootlickers, of course.
Bootlickers.
So, the situation that they're put in is pretty crazy. If you haven't seen the movie, basically they're all locked in with giant titanium
They
doors.
covered their bases with them escaping the building.
They have implants in them that will explode if they try to take it off or tamper with it. They
Yeah.
have cameras set up in the house, in the studio, and basically a intercom voice comes on the speaker and says, "You have 30 minutes to kill 2 of your employees, or 60 of you will die."
Well, I think the first round it was 4 people, so they would double the number of people that were supposed to be
Yeah,
killed.
it got extreme after like the second. and
Yeah,
third
then they
one.
were like, okay, you got to kill 30 people. If you
And
don't,
then
we'll
it-
kill 60.
It turned into a battle royale like halfway through the movie, where they're
Yeah.
like, the person who has the most kills gets to leave.
Right.
So when we were watching this, I considered like if I had to make the decision for this group of who lives and who dies to save, the other half of the group that's in there, I was just like, so I guess we're rounding up people with no children, old people first, and then like I was started like
Yeah.
going into it like, how would I break this down? And it was a little macabre to honestly go about it like that.
But it's interesting, too, how, they reacted in this situation. Like, how do you make order out of something so disorderly and so chaotic? And, you have to start to ask questions like, who deserves to live? And no one wants to ask that question, because everybody deserves to live.
I would not actively be involved in the decision making. I would go hide, and if anybody came to find me, I would kill them.
That was
Same.
That's what I would do.
That was what I wanted to ask you. What would you guys do in the
Yeah,
situation?
I would for sure hide because it's like when you. So this works when you play like a battle royale game. If you hide most of the time,
You're gonna
and
be
then
in the top 10.
You're gonna be in the top 10, and then you just have to kill like 2 or 3 people.
which is what Danny was doing.
Well,
Yeah, I
sorta.
was actually expecting her to make it through,
Yeah.
but then her mistake was taking the elevator.
Yup.
Which I don't think her character would really do.
That
I think-
was
Yeah.
that was bad writing. She
Yeah,
should have.
honestly.
She should have like something else should have happened with her.
Like, she was on it the whole time.
Yeah.
She knew exactly what to do, and then she just slips like that.
She probably would have survived if she stayed at the bottom where she was, like behind those boxes.
Yeah.
I think she would. She could have stayed there probably the whole time.
So then you got like a whole montage of like other people trying to figure out. Some people are arming themselves. Some people are trying to find a place to hide. Some people are trying to get the bombs out of people's heads so they could throw it out the wall.
He does try,
Yeah.
and then they count down for him. He does it until like 2, where he's just like, I almost got it. Okay, fine. And,
Well, I'm
like,
talking
pulls
about the
his hands
stoner
away.
guys specifically, though.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they pull out the
yeah.
bombs.
Yeah.
They had a really smart plan taking the bombs out of people's heads who had already been killed. The bombs weren't detonated. And
Right.
so they collected all of these little mini bombs, which will come in handy later.
Right.
We'll see.
It's
a
relevant. Yeah, it's definitely relevant to the
It's a
story.
secret tool to help us later.
Yeah. Bum, bum, bum.
That's funny. It plays
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda. A little ping noise.
Do you think teamwork works in situations like this?
No.
I feel like yes, but you're gonna have to come to the reality that you might have to kill them. It's like what we do in Magic, where you make teammates and then you kill them in the end.
You're like, team
Form
up with me to get
alliances
the
for your own
threat.
benefit.
Yeah, to be alliances. Although in this case, I would not form an alliance.
This
Yeah.
is like, what is that? What is that? There's this this paradox, or not, maybe it's not a paradox, but it's like a philosophical illustration of like a train track.
Oh,
And you put like there's a puppy on one side and a toddler on the other one, and you get to pick where the train goes. Does it
No,
run over the
thank
puppy or the toddler? Where
puppy.
Okay,
No, I'm just kidding. The kid. Fucking
here
kids.
was one of my things that fucking stood out. I think that they should have did a lottery. Because that's kind of fucked up, just grab people.
You mean when they're like all in the
yeah,
in
when
the
they're
main
about to do
lobby?
the firing
Oh,
squad.
okay. Yeah,
And
for
like,
real.
there was one chick, she gave a bad look at Wendell, and he's like, yeah, you're coming with me. He's just like, fuck.
Well, one dude does propose that. He's like, "Yo, it's the British dude." He's like, it should be a lottery. Like and then he's like, don't you ever undermine me again.
Yeah, he was like, don't you ever try to undermine me. Like, just fucking not even going to paint it black. Just going to just fucking go for it.
I'm surprised he didn't shoot him, honestly. I thought he was going to shoot him.
Same.
Like that would have been, I feel like it would have been a good moment for him to like solidify how nuts he is by just like killing the dude on the spot. But he actually was pretty apprehensive to kill them.
It definitely takes a while to realize like his true character,
yeah.
you know, because he really did try to keep it together for a while. But at some point, it kind of came to the point. I don't know. I feel like the training kicked in from his past, totally. You know, and who knows what else kicked in.
Gets into like the killer mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's totally a thing. Gets the military training.
Yeah, if you're in a heightened situation, adrenaline's high, risk is high, you know, you switch into the modes, you know, that will help you carry through that moment.
We'll talk about this again when we talk about the girl who took like 8 bullet shots and still kept attacking that dude.
Oh yeah.
In the end of Battle Royale.
Oh yeah.
She takes like 8 shots to the chest and is still trying to kill this guy. Fucking adrenaline out the ass for that scene. You're like, oh wow, all right, she's still alive. But agreed.
How did you feel about, I mean, like, you basically go down this thing, the 60 people are dead because they didn't reach the time limit. It gets down to like the last like 10 or so, and that's when it's like the kill montage basically of everyone just trying to survive.
I think they could have had more, they could have added more to the center of the script to allow people to show what they would do in the situation, because 30 people just get killed randomly. Like, it's not because of what they've done to each other, it's just because they didn't get enough kills in time. And it's like you sped up the script suddenly when it should have been like mapped out a little bit more, because you have an entire building to use for the hunting of people,
right.
And you didn't use all of it. So it's like, I think they could have added in more to the script.
They could have had more cubicle fights.
Yeah,
they could have done so much more.
That their setting could have been involved more, but it was really just focused on the human interaction. It wasn't their interaction with the environment as much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go full blown into the like what this movie did, you should have had people sit down and be like, what kind of ridiculous kills can you have in this movie? Because that's what it kind of came to.
I mean, like, where is the shot of someone getting their head smashed inside of a copier and then it starts spitting out copies of like their
fucking
crushed skull on the
head.
inside of it? Yeah, right.
I would have loved to see
Where
that.
is the scalding hot coffee burns?
Yeah, where is this? Where are these?
That's some like Metalocalypse shit.
Where's the
honestly.
guy that gets
Melt
his
your face off with some fucking coffee?
Where's the guy that someone grabs him by the necktie and puts him in the paper shredder?
Also, paper shredder kill. Yes,
a paper shredder.
They have industrial paper shredders in those places, and they're nuts.
I mean, these are just good ways to like blend the horror and comedy that make it work a little bit better if you're trying to do that. And that may not have been the purpose of this movie in general. Might have just been to add some light comedic bits into like a very serious situation.
I feel like in this case, you kind of have to emphasize the comedy a little more, because when you sprinkle it into a very serious movie, it feels so out of place.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the songs in this movie, the selections that were used in the most inappropriate parts.
Yeah, like the operatic singing during certain moments.
I feel like it called for it. I don't know. Whenever I see really violent, tragic scenes, I want opera music or some sort of classical music.
I'm not talking about that, but I do note that I enjoy that. That's why, like, Battle Royale, when they're killing everyone to the Requiem, it works so well.
Oh,
I think it's overused, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is
at that
overused.
point, at that point, I don't think it was used as
No,
often.
it was not. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But
The 70s film, like when it came out, that was not a common thing to do.
Yeah.
So they kind of set the bar for what that was.
What I'm talking about is the firing squad scene to the fucking Mexican music.
Oh, fucking a cover of, what was it?
California
California
Dreaming.
Dreaming.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to feel about it.
I
I was just like, this, like, it's kind of macabre, but it's kind of trying to be funny. I don't know.
I felt like it was trying to be funny, and it didn't pass off very well.
Boom!
That was very violent. Like, that was like, oh shit, like there's heads exploding in the scene.
Very sad to see the one Mexican lady who actually got out of there
Yeah,
to
for
get
real.
fucking burned by a Molotov.
That was brutal, honestly.
Yeah, she really got roasted. That
I
was
feel like
terrible.
getting burned alive is probably the worst thing that could happen
Yo.
to somebody.
She was smart though. Did you see that? Like, she was on the stairwell and she
Playing dead.
put her head up against a blood splat and was just plain dead.
It's kind of sad, but I remember reading somewhere about what to do in the case of a school shooting or any sort of shooting in
Right.
general is to play dead, put blood on yourself and hide under a dead body.
Yikes.
Just saying.
I mean, it would work.
Yeah.
They're not checking bodies unless the dude's like extra crazy and just putting 2 in someone's head every time he came across a body.
Right. Which sometimes
I don't think
happens.
they usually don't have time for that though. I think they're just like running through and just hitting as many
Yeah, they
people
got
as
shit on their
possible.
mind.
Fuck.
Usually a bullet. Anyways,
oh no.
how'd you feel about the ending with the twist?
I liked it. I think they like left themselves room to keep it going if they really wanted to, but also like they probably won't. Just to make you feel like, oh, there's a much more elaborate scheme going on here. But I just don't know where they would take it. Like what happens next.
I thought it was weird that it was like a voice thing, and it kind of felt like a rat experiment and something that we can't even fathom. I can't even think of how it would be for the part 2 at least.
I feel like the part 2 would be sort of like what they did with one of the Hunger Games, where they bring back all of the people that survived.
Oh yeah,
then
they do
ask
like a
them to fight
champions
again.
version of it.
Yeah, all stars.
That was brutal, actually. In the fucking book when they did that, because they thought they were all safe, like they would
Right.
never be brought back into the tournament again.
It's like, okay, I went through this traumatic event. I survived it. I should be good, right? Right?
No.
What if it's just Belko kill pay-per-view? We did these experiments all over
What
the
is
world.
this, Death Race?
I mean, I was
77 killers from across the globe.
What-
One ring.
what really
Sunday.
This is a great analogy to football. I love it.
Football. Okay, anyways.
Monday Night Football.
I just thought it was weird how it's like, all right, so we want to know how you're feeling exactly right now in this moment.
Oh
Are
my
you feeling
God.
A, sad,
The dude with the
B,
pencil who's
confused?
just super interested.
And he gets the jump on them with the bombs that
That
we
was
mentioned
great.
earlier. He's like, haha, I've put the bombs on you
So
from earlier.
fucking badass move because he ran the risk of exploding himself.
And
Yeah.
he almost did it too.
Yeah, he was the very last one on the board, so he got lucky that he didn't hit his own. But he planted all of the bombs on them and then exploded them. And I was like, that was a good move.
Then he fucking grabs the gun and just unloads on the cameraman.
Yeah, fuck this cameraman.
Oh man.
I thought it was interesting because you see all different types of languages with the Belko name on it near the end as it pans out.
Yeah.
It's happening in Russia, Japan, Brazil. It's all crazy, man. It's all in my head, man.
I love that, dude. I love the stoner archetype who they put into horror movies, like what they did in Cabin in the Woods. Except in that movie, he actually like discovered everything. He like found the camera and was like, "Oh shit!" I was like freaking out because he's so high.
You guys want to talk about Battle Royale? Yeah?
Yeah, this is a good time to move into Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Battle Royale! As they said and accepted.
Wait. I forgot. Are you talking about that weird college movie?
Yeah, that weird college movie.
So where they make like a fake college, right?
Yeah.
And just start doing weird
Yeah,
shit.
Such a good movie.
The main guy is just like, I want to fucking fight you. And the bad guy's like, yeah, I want to fight. And the guy with the carrot top and the fucking headband is just like, Battle Royale!
Same movie that has the "Ask Me About My Wiener" line.
Ask me about my wiener.
Love it.
Never changed. What's that dude? Jacob fucking...
Who? The guy
Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill, not Jacob.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
This is when he was like doing a bunch of just random comedy movies.
All right, so I guess we could just start on Battle Royale production notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was released in 2000. It was directed by Kinji Fukusaku and written by his son Kenta Fukusaku.
Oh shit! I didn't know it was
And,
a team like that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the manga, Mitch?
You mean the book? That was not a manga?
Shh.
So you want to talk about the manga? No.
You want to talk about the manga? There's both, Mitch.
There is for this
Yes,
for
yeah,
Battle Royale.
So the book Battle Royale was
Oh,
released
okay.
in 1999, the very first printing. Potentially the most evil book that exists, although there are other ones. For it was written on 666 pages.
Oh, wow,
So anyway, it is the most evil book.
that's funny.
I wonder
Anyway.
if that was intentional.
I'm sure.
It might have been. It might have been, or it might have been just one of those situations you get it like when you go to the store and you buy something, your total comes out to be 666 cents.
I feel like the dude was writing and he was like, oh man, I'm pretty close to 666 pages. Let me just add a little extra so we can get there. Ooh, this will freak everybody out.
If I was writing something, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to add another page.
Do you guys ever get mad when you buy something at the grocery store and it's $4.19? You're like, 1 more cent. Come on.
Oh,
$4.20.
I do that with gas. I get mad as hell if it's like not an even number.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you spent $10.02. And I'm like, fuck. God damn it.
Can we at least make this like $10.25?
Yeah. I just keep going to the next dollar. I don't give a fuck.
Back to the production.
Anyway, back to our production notes.
I digress from my gas tendencies.
Your gas tendencies.
Yeah, exactly.
You are pretty gassy, just saying.
It's true.
The film had a budget of $4.5 million, and it grossed $30.6 million in the box office.
Wait. It was what compared against what?
$4.5 million,
and they made
$30.6 million.
Damn, they made a good amount then.
It is one of the top 10 highest grossing films in Japan.
Oh, okay, nice. I believe. What? I wonder what else is before it then.
We got Shin Godzilla up there. Al, that's all.
Oh, okay.
I see it.
Yes, Shin Godzilla is number 1. No.
The film is considered highly controversial and was banned in several countries after release.
Yeah.
It was given an R+15 rating in Japan, which is
they're
very
all
rare.
children.
Yeah.
That
Or
was something that was a
teenagers at
little
best.
surprising to me because, you know, in the U.S., the R rating is for 18 and up.
Right.
Versus in Japan, it's 15 and up.
Totally cultural thing.
It goes to show the, like, maturity expectations that are across cultures.
And
which I think plays a lot into this film.
It's weird, too, because in Japan, they have the higher arc system within schools. You got A class to E class.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a bad fucking kid, you're in E class.
And everybody knows it.
And everybody knows,
It's public knowledge that you're in this category.
Not only that, but even rankings within those classes.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you number 1 in your A class? Are you number 1 in your E class?
Well, they even tied it into the movie where the kid who was top ranking got to leave first, and he had a crossbow.
Yeah.
So, like, he had, like, the best gear.
That was pretty funny. But I also like how the foreign exchange, the exchange student is just like, this ain't my fucking bag. That's my fucking bag.
Yeah, it comes back for a different one. He probably had something whack in there and was like, I need to exchange this.
The director, Kinji Kukasaku, died in 2003 due to prostate cancer. And while he was on set making Battle Royale 2 Requiem.
Damn.
His son picked up the script and finished the movie for him, though. It's dedicated to him. We're going to go through some actors real quick. Tatsuya Fujiwara as Shuya Nanahara, Aki Maeda as Nariko Nakagawa, and Taro Yamamoto as Shogo Kawada. One guy that's super notable here is Takeshi Kitano, though. And if you don't know him, he's like one of the top 10 most famous people in Japan.
Yep.
He's the teacher in the movie.
Yeah.
He is a comedian, an actor, a game show host, and a film director.
I've definitely seen him before. I wasn't sure where, but seeing that he's done so much, I've probably just seen him along the way.
He likes being in films that Takashi Mike makes. He's been in a bunch of his films.
his like entire like his wiki page is just filled with so much shit. He does a lot. So in the process of making the movie, over 6,000 students were in the initial process to play in the part. And then it was cut down to 800. They were made as finalists, quote unquote, and they had to endure intense training and rigorous exercise to make it into the final cut.
Oh, damn.
So out of the 600, only 42 of the actors made the cut.
So in a way, they did their own sort of battle royale to determine who was going to even play in this movie.
Yeah. And they also did all of their own stunts. Every kid here does not have a stunt double. So that kid literally jumped off a building with a fucking katana.
Oh, damn.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Props.
But this Battle Royale is one of those movies that it's like an important thing in film because it basically made its own genre.
Right. So the Battle Royale format had not really been done in film.
You versus everyone, or a group of you versus everyone. You know,
the closest I think you got was like the one final person who fights like a bunch of monsters, but that's not like that. It's not exactly Battle Royale. This is like what kind of brought that in from other media.
I mean, it kind of takes it from like survival horror, I guess,
exactly.
in a way. It takes that type of thing, like who's going to live through all of this mayhem.
That's the thing. Like nowadays, Battle Royale is everywhere because of the recent insurge of video games that use the mechanic.
It's like it's a mode in the game, or it's the game itself in cases like Fortnite or PUBG.
I like Apex Legends.
Apex Legends is trash.
All right, I gotta go.
Ah.
But yeah, like now
It's literally all the League of Legends players. But go ahead.
The battle royale industry though
Yeah.
makes billions of dollars today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not only in like digital currency, but just like everything that is going on with kids are just playing these games for fucking fun. They want to be number one. They want that dub.
They want the special skins.
They want them V-Bucks, mom.
Do all the microtransactions.
Yeah.
It's like murdering video games right now.
I mean, now they even made the Travis Scott burger.
Oh my god.
Oh shit! I was just talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, you showed me the picture of it.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't like to be a corporate shill, but it's bomb.
Fuck McDonald's.
Yeah, fuck McDonald's, but that shit was pretty good.
Ah.
Also in April 2013, like 17 years later. No. How many years is that? No, it was 13 years later for some fucking reason. The movie was put into a youth endangering index and was made heavily illegal to sell and buy copies in Germany.
I believe that.
And all hard copies of the movie were confiscated by the German police.
Well, shit. I mean, after you had the Nazi youth, I'm sure they're kind of like, we shouldn't do shit like this.
Yeah. Like, why would you do this? It's 2013.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, they're like, let's not.
And then in 2017, the index was revoked, so you can now buy and sell the movie today.
Weird. There's a lot of weird stuff on ban lists.
Right. So I want to know, what were your initial thoughts on Battle Royale?
I remember watching this movie a few years ago, and I was really fucking high when I watched it. I couldn't get through it because it felt way too intense for me, but watching it again, it was actually really enjoyable. Like, there was an interesting storyline, there was very interesting characters, you got to get into their backstories, which explained the way that they reacted in the situation, which I feel was really good to include because a lot of how we react in situations is based off of how we've reacted to situations in the past and things that we've experienced.
I felt like it was a little bit too melodramatic at some points. But I mean, I think it's just personal taste because I was like, it took me out of it whenever they like had these sentimental moments in the middle of like someone getting axe murdered. So I was just like, it's the same thing that happened with the Belko experiment where the transitions were a little weird.
Are you talking about like where they have flashbacks to the basketball game?
Yeah, either that or they're like, I loved you. And then the girl's like, you never spoke to me. But like, you're like, what the fuck are these moments? She dead ass was like, you've never spoken to me like ever.
How
what
would I
are
know?
you talking about? As he got shot like 4 times. So it was just like those moments kind of like took me out of the script because I'm like, what is this shit, dude? Like, I don't need to know. It hit me like Naruto hits you where you're like, I don't need these flashbacks for what the fuck is happening.
Why is Naruto like half of it is just flashbacks?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it just, I couldn't do it.
And they take 5 episodes to resolve the issue.
Some
but
Dragon Ball
anyways.
Z shit.
This movie definitely feels like a manga to me.
Yeah.
And it's not even based off of a manga, it's based off a book, so it's like so I'm wondering if the book is very manga-esque in how things are portrayed. So that I found very interesting. I really like Battle Royale though. I've seen it before. I watched it like on a recommendation from a friend a long time ago, and I thought it was pretty fucking cool. There's a lot of fun scenes in this one too that are really hilarious, and they also capture like that fascist rule sort of idea like really well for something like this, especially when it brings up like the girl explaining all this stuff in the beginning, and then he claps along with her like all excited because she's up on the screen talking about shit. I don't know, it's so funny. I don't know, I really enjoyed Battle Royale though when I first my first viewing, and my second viewing was even more fun.
This is my third time seeing Battle Royale. The first time, I just thought it was a really fun gore fest. The second time, I thought it was really interesting, but I didn't really dig it as much. This time, though, I've watched a lot more anime, and it's safe to say Battle Royale is an anime, and it's fun. The kills are, like, super creative. The idea and premise is super original for the time. And I like how everyone gets random weapons and they make a danger zone, which is later present in the video games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was one thing, is they mentioned the danger zones in the movie, but it wasn't exactly shown that these areas were dangerous. There was never any sort of, like, I don't know, mines going off or anything.
Did I miss it? Like, what was the danger of those areas?
If they're in those areas after the marked time, their collar will go off and their heads
okay.
will
I
explode.
thought so.
Ah, okay.
Did that actually happen though to anybody
No,
in the film?
I don't think so. Or it could have happened off screen because
Yeah.
that body count. We have 42 people to go.
Because there's a
through.
lot of people who are not shown.
Yeah,
killed.
like there's those two girls in the beginning that were like, she ran off and said, "We'll always be friends," but it wasn't ever really explained how they were killed. You just see them
Yeah.
dead at some point. Although I think they got shot because they seem to have a lot of holes in them.
There's a lot of characters in here, and those two actually come up. You see them on the beach with like a
Yeah.
giant sword in one of them and a knife in the back of the
Right,
other.
right.
Damn.
But you got like all sorts of shit going on in this movie. You got like the two people who are together killing themselves,
Yeah.
and then the two best friends hanging themselves
Oh
as
yeah.
well. And then you just got all this other stuff. I mean, you got the girl. I'll get into it, but there's just a lot of groups. And did you ever come up with a group name for some of these people?
No, not really, except for like the nerds. I can't
Yeah.
like the nerds
Oh
are
yeah,
there.
the hacking nerds.
Yeah, the hacking nerds
They
are my
were so
favorite.
close.
Yeah,
I
they
know.
were so close.
They had a good method, but homeboy of the crazy hair just had to fuck up everything.
Yeah, yo, this is what makes this a manga though, is because you have the trope of the frizzy-haired psychopath, which is in like countless like anime
Yes.
manga things.
They always have colored hair too.
Yeah.
To say.
Mostly red.
Yeah, red or blonde typically.
They're always wearing like black,
Oh.
black jeans and a black coat.
Well, they never wear their uniform appropriately. It's like
Yeah.
untucked. They got like their tie
Disheveled.
untucked. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you've also got the 16-year-old vet.
Oh right.
Yeah, for real.
I've been here before, and now that I'm here to end this game.
Oh, you're talking about Showa Katawa.
Yes,
guy
there
with the
are.
shotgun?
So you'll
Yeah.
have to forgive me. There are thousands of names in these movies. That's just an exaggeration, and I forget most of them. So it's just like, in the interest of not offending anybody, I'm just going to like, I will
That
describe
guy.
Scythe Girl and Runner Girl
Hey.
and things like that.
Runner Girl's cool though.
Yeah.
Runner Girl is the dopeness.
I was hoping she would make it a lot further.
Like
Yeah, that's true.
me and my friend, we were cheering for Scythe Girl a lot because she was ruthless. And when you get
Oh,
into her
yeah.
backstory, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
it makes so much sense.
That was like her mom basically sold her, right?
Yeah.
It was so uncomfortable, and I was so glad that she actually killed a rapist.
Yeah, shit. That
That guy was
definitely-
creepy. He was like, "Look, this is a mini you. I took all its
Yeah,
clothes
they
off.
did not
Now
pull
it's
any
your
punches
turn."
with that. They were like, this is a blatant pedophile who was trying to get this little girl undressed, and you're like, oh,
She
shit.
fucking killed him though.
Yeah.
Push his ass down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So I'm glad you bring up Runner Girl because Quentin Foot Fetish Tarantino. This is his favorite film from the 2000s, is what he said.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
I see the influence.
it led to his inspiration for Kill Bill,
Yeah.
and where he actually features Chiaki Kuriyama from BR
Yeah.
as Go-Go
Yep.
in that movie. And she's badass. in
Who
that
is a
movie.
great
Love
character in
her.
that movie.
She made that movie.
Her eyes, dude.
I fucking love that.
She has some fucking crazy eyes. When the guy's like, I'm just going to force myself on you. She's like, I will resist you with every inch of my body until you fucking die.
Comes at him with a knife.
That was great.
Fucking love it.
I also like the line from Kill Bill where she's like, you can beg better than that. You're like, oh, okay.
Okay, mommy.
She has a deep ass voice. Like
Yeah.
she has that Japanese female voice that they use for villains, where they're like super deep voice, and you're like, oh, all right.
I love it though. I was so gay for that shit watching anime. I was like, yes. Speak more.
That's great. I love that.
So it's like these guys are put into this situation from a fascist government. Like
Yeah.
they're forced to. They thought they were going on a school trip, but every year the fucking government has the BR Act, which enacts a very bad class of students to be put on the island to kill each other until one is left.
Which is essentially them trying to teach respect, which is also what they played on in Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Was that the reason for the Hunger Games was to put the other districts in to have control over the other districts.
Yeah. That's true. The Hunger Games got hella downplayed when they made the movies.
Yeah.
But like in the fucking
The
book.
books are something else.
Yeah.
Fuck the movies, read the books.
Hey, wait, I got to bring up the joke.
Which one?
What do you call Hunger Games in Paris?
What?
Battle Royale with cheese.
Fuck off. I love it.
I had to. I'm sorry.
I hate it. I hate all
I
of it.
love it.
So something that happens in this movie is a lot of people's trust is blurred. And like that's the
Right.
thing with a lot of these people, some of them are friends, some of them don't even talk to each other, some of them hate each other. So you have that one thing where it's like, "Oh, I wasn't really friends with your group, but I think we could be friends. I never had a problem with you." She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to fucking kill you now."
Pretty much. Either
Trust
that
no
or they
one.
were. Yeah, exactly.
This is why I say that you shouldn't have teams in this kind of situations, because when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, people will crack under pressure. It might not be you, but it might be someone you chose to put your trust in. And in that case, it might as well be your fault.
Well, ironically, the only way that ended up like not working was in the Hunger Games when they're like, "Fuck it, we're both gonna kill ourselves" at the
Right.
end of the first one, and then they're like, "Wait, you guys both win." So I wonder if maybe something similar would have happened if the two final people would have been like, "We're not playing this game," and would have been like pretty much rebelling against what they had created for them.
Well, in a sense, they did choose not to play the game because they both escaped and essentially became fugitives.
Right. Exactly.
I don't think they actually killed anyone at all either.
Only
Not-
by
only-
accident
the
or
accident.
Only
circumstance.
Oki,
yeah.
who accidentally falls on his own axe. But that brings up the chick who witnessed the death, who wants to kill Nanahara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think the fucking lighthouse scene in this movie is the best fucking scene in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it really shows like what happens when people, I say this a lot, but what happens when people are under pressure. It takes one thing to set them off. The trust is already really blurred in that moment, and even before that, you don't really know who you can trust. And then, you got to start asking questions. People start questioning each other. People start trying to expose things that aren't actually there. Everybody gets crazy. Everybody gets violent
Then
because they're
someone
scared.
Then someone reaches for the gun.
Yeah, and then it sets off a chain reaction of chaos.
That chick was wild though. She's like,
Yeah.
she went for the gun. That means she's fucking wrong. That means she's the one who poisoned her.
I just want to talk about that girl with the glasses that got shot a few times and was still trying to shoot them.
Are you talking about the one with the crazy hair?
Yeah.
Yo, best girl.
Yeah.
With the long hair?
She's beautiful. But then again, I have to realize that these are fucking children. I hate fucking Japan for doing this to me.
Oh, yeah. This is like a consistent thing.
That was something I noticed too in a lot of animes that I've watched. Is I feel like the characters are always put into very mature roles, but they're always like high school age.
Yeah.
Which, like I said before, I feel like is very indicative of the maturity levels people are expected of in different cultures. Because there's definitely kids in Japan and other Asian cultures are expected to have a lot more going for them and a lot more responsibility,
Right.
which can put a lot of pressure on someone, which I feel like this movie kind of was geared towards, is what does the pressure of school bring?
Oh, yeah, exactly. They have so much pressure on them from these systems.
On the note of pressure in Japanese schooling and whatnot, on that note, I wanted to bring up an interesting historical reference that I might be able to bring into this. So, as we're all aware, in World War II history, we're all aware that in 1945 there were 2 nuclear bombs dropped on Japan: Nagasaki,
Nagasaki.
and Hiroshima. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so you have a whole bunch of like society, first of all, infrastructure fallout. You have like a mass amount of people that just died. And then you have then it falls on the society to build everything back up. And so you have more intensity in labor. You have more intensity in schooling because everyone's expected to do way better now.
And more of a focus on morality.
Yeah.
And also, I want to say, having a collective mindset. I mean, that was already definitely present in the culture, but even more so now.
What I'm basically alluding to is that particular event set in motion like this much more intense curriculum from what it already was. And so I think that this movie may be commenting on the intensity of the school system itself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even in other countries, too. I recall in high school, we had a foreign exchange student from China, and she was telling us how a lot of the buildings in the downtown area, the big skyscrapers, would all have nets around them because suicide rates were so high in those areas, particularly among students, because the pressures of school were just way too intense. Not only that, but the pressure to do well in school from your family, because not being well in school means you won't be successful in a career, which is essentially going to be like not good for the rest of the family.
Which I think is mirrored like excellently with like the class system that they always have. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to be an E class. They are an example of what not to be. You should be striving for more. And then even so, it's portrayed in the movie with the father of Nanahara. He like kills himself, hanging himself by a wire. And he's just like, you could do it, Shuya. I believe in you. On his like little scroll that he writes as he's like laying there dead. Like in the beginning of the movie, they said that there was a giant recession. Like 10 million people were out of jobs. Like a bunch of people were just like, the pressure from society was rampant. And these are kids that are expected to have no future, you know? They like leave class just because they don't want to be there.
Oh yeah, the fucking kid who did not ever go to class and then showed up for the school trip.
Right.
Gets killed
Because he
first.
was invited.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he shanked the teacher also, like in the middle, like stabbed him in the leg.
Yep.
That was wild.
So like I understand why there would be that shift to like a more fascist state kind of thing with like given that fake scenario, but like I don't think that, you know, we're too far along from that kind of shit happening now.
What, like the U.S. government doing that shit?
Well,
here
that's the
in
thing,
United
like,
States?
or you know, just like that's the thing with like the growing rise and popularity of Battle Royale. Like, how many years is it going to be where people are like, you know what, Hunger Games, we could probably do that.
I mean,
shit.
we already have concentration camps, so
Yeah, I mean,
it's not too far off that they're gonna just place people in.
but like,
terrible
at what
situations.
point in society am I going to be like, hey, are you going to watch the Battle Royale, like fucking 25 people against each other to the death, like?
Gladiator matches?
Yeah, like
I
fucking
think they'll do it
idiocracy
first.
style.
They'll do it first with prisoners, and then they'll get into like getting the poor essentially who are gonna be put into these situations. So like death match, like in fucking what's that movie, Death Race, and like other shit like that would definitely happen first, because we don't give a fuck about the criminals, aka like quote unquote criminals.
Right. I think it's really interesting because like we're in a weird time in society right now where like, I mean, this state's on fire, boys.
Literally.
Well, yeah, our
It looks
state,
like Blade Runner 2049 out there.
So a little context, we're in California right now, and literally the entire West Coast is on fire. I believe there's over 30 wildfires burning from California to Washington right now. Some of the largest fires we've ever seen in their history, too.
It's so many things comboing together. It's like a ridiculous amount of heat, dryness, drought, and people just setting off fucking pyrotechnics for a gender reveal.
Didn't set off the third impact though.
For what?
Sorry, it's a reference.
Oh, I missed it. What was it for?
It's from Neon Genesis. I saw a meme that said,
Oh,
if your gender reveal
dang.
doesn't cause the third impact, don't fucking invite me.
I'm upset. I should have known that one.
But that's the thing. I feel like this movie feels like an anime.
Yeah.
And like, I feel a lot of the tropes from anime are present, but like the kills in this fucking movie are great. Like you got the guy who's like trying to run away on a fucking bicycle, gets fucking capped by the red-haired dude. Dude's like, I got a fucking sweet bulletproof vest. What now? Gets fucking decapitated.
Yep.
Grenade shoved in his mouth, thrown through a window. Like,
Damn.
one thing I wanted to bring up though was sex was used in both of these movies. In Belko Experiment, there was that one executive who was like, to the CEO, I know what you want, and I'll give it to you if you let me live.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Proceeds to break her neck.
Yeah.
He like twisted her head all
The way
I
around.
need to save ammo.
Yeah. What the fuck?
What a
Jesus.
twisted way of thinking.
Yeah, for real.
And then there was the scene where Scythe Girl, she's cleaning herself up after she's like walks away from two completely naked bloody dudes, who I could only presume that she like basically teased them into getting there into that position so she can kill them.
Well, shit.
According to some things I've done, I've read a little bit on the synopsis of the book itself. Apparently, that is exactly what happens. Though the movie doesn't really explain it. There's just like two naked.
They
guys.
probably couldn't because they're all
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's essentially
Yeah.
what went down.
Okay.
Though.
And that's the thing, like, it brings up the question, what are you doing to keep yourself alive? You guys, that's the thing. If you're put in this situation with a loved one, like, say if you and Justine were put in this situation,
Oh,
would you
No.
guys trust each other?
I would trust Justine, but I think us trying to protect each other would end up being the thing that gets us both killed.
I asked Salsa Verde what they thought, and they were like, well, we could all do group suicide. Like giant group suicide.
I wouldn't kill myself. I gotta say that.
I would.
Would you really?
Well, like, if it came down to that, I would definitely fight until I thought it was completely hopeless.
Which the thing is, like, the nerds, they get their little thing going. They actually hack into the main system with the basketball.
I love that because the dude is just randomly typing. He is not putting any inputs. He is just going ham on the keyboard. And then being like, yeah, hacker man. You're like, what the fuck? He even had time to do like a basketball fucking animation along with his hack. Like, it was just like a slam dunk. So I was like, dang, he had this much time.
I feel like he already had it set up. That's like his go-to hacker Avi.
It's exactly. It's like a preset.
I thought one of the more intense scenes was the chick that was like, I really hate you. You just fuck all the dudes, don't you? Like, you are just a slut.
Yeah, dude, that was intense. She was just like, you fucking whore. And you're like, oh, damn. This is like.
And then she's like, I saw our friend over there. She's dead. I checked the bathroom and there's a tampon in the toilet. She didn't have her period, but I'm guessing you're on yours. And I was like, oh, this is intense.
Ooh, Nancy Drew over here.
That's when she takes the gun from her, right? She has like the taser, the gun, and like the
tases
fucking
the gun and then fucking shoots her. I think she shoots her, right?
Yes.
The poison girl. The girl with the poison. That scene was nuts.
Oh, yeah. Let's come back to that. Yeah. When they're in the lighthouse. And they had the main character. He had been found on the beach. They were taking care of him. And then, well.
Yeah, and then I think the younger one, the poison girl, is the one that saw him in the woods and assumed that he had killed that person.
Yeah, who I guess was like a friend or a crush of hers, someone important to her.
Yeah,
too many crushes.
And so she intended to poison him, and then somebody else came in all ecstatic, like, "Yay! Oh my God, food! It's so good, yum!" And then eats it, and then just dies. And then everything breaks out in panic at this point, and it is uncontrollable. And Poison Girl says nothing the whole time.
She's just hiding under the desk the whole time.
I mean, that's one way to kill a lot of people, is poisoning food like that.
Yeah, but the chick with the glasses, like fucking full Rambo mode, was just fucking unloading that
leaping
Uzi.
over everything, fucking going ham.
How did people not run out of bullets though?
Best girl.
That's my question.
Best girl. That's all I gotta say. Best girl.
Psycho Hairboy has 1 billion bullets. Like, he never has to unload he has to unload a clip one time.
They give them pretty big sacks when they send them out, so I feel like maybe there was some extra ammo.
Just
in
had
some
a lot of
them.
ammo clips in there.
Yeah, and then if you happen to come by someone who's dead and left their stuff around, loot them.
Also true.
There were. That's the thing. You never see ammo. Yeah, you never see ammo in this movie.
It was shown once. I think when the the vet dude, the 16-year-old that had done it before, he at some point pulls out a box of ammo when he gives them the gun.
Yeah, I remember that.
But that was the only time ammo was really shown.
I wanted to bring that character up. What do you think about the exchange student who won the game previously and is in here now to infiltrate the government? I thought he's pretty sick.
I mean, he's like the epitome of what that rebellious character would be.
Mm-hmm.
And he like did a double fake on everybody.
Which was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Because nobody really expected him to be the one person who was going to infiltrate.
It's like, why are you guys like stringing me and my girlfriend along? It's like, well, isn't it obvious you guys are weak?
Yeah.
Like, you're fangirl and binocular boy. Like, come on.
He was so convincing that the dude was like, the game's over. Like, they won. The one dude won. Like, they didn't even confirm it.
Because their systems are down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also like his backstory, how he actually played the games with his girlfriend. And the girlfriend fucking betrayed him.
Yeah.
Like, she gave him a hug and fucking put a 9mm in his stomach. Yeah.
And he somehow survived to make it onto the next game.
But here's the thing, like, it makes you question your relationships to your friends, to your family, and to your loved ones. Like, could you do this kind of experiment or deal with them? Could you trust them?
I think it also comes down to how much do you value your own life over someone else's.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could tie into a lot of other things, social issues. How much do you care about something that doesn't relate to you?
If it was U.S. people in the same situation, everybody would only care about themselves. Because that's what we grew up on that. We want to be the best at everything. So most people are selfish.
That was another thing I wanted to mention. Do you think this movie would work if it were in English or like made by Americans?
If it was made by Americans, it would have been Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah. Where they have all the essentially poor people are the only ones who get brought into this, and then a random like rich person who just wants to go hunting,
Right.
is like what that story is about.
Didn't they make a movie about that recently? About rich people hunting poor people?
They did. We watched
it at the drive-in, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, honestly.
It was a very interesting concept.
I mean, it was a good movie though.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was the idea was that a group of rich people decide like they would choose random people, bring them in, and then it turned into like the most dangerous game kind of thing where they would go hunting them in this area.
Little did they know they got the names mixed up with one of them. Instead of getting some rando, they actually got this like war vet.
Yeah,
the girl who ended up killing everybody.
She was fucking great.
Yeah.
She like is the most brutal, ruthless person in that movie.
She also played in Glow. She was Liberty Bell.
Yep. that girl is the main character in that. God, what is that movie?
Yeah, we gotta.
I'm gonna look it up.
Do you guys see any sequels being made for either of these movies?
The Belko experiment definitely set themselves up for a sequel, but I don't think anything has been announced about any sort of sequel.
You know something I found interesting about Battle Royale as opposed to the Belko experiment? There was no suicide in Belko experiment. There's no part at all where someone like voluntarily offs themselves in that movie.
That's true.
Whereas in this one, there's people who are just like, I won't be a part of this whatsoever. I'm done, sort of thing.
Yeah, you got the two people that jump off the cliff. You got the people that hang themselves.
I almost want to say that kind of ties into the religion of cultures because, you know, most Americans, if they are religious, are probably Christian, Catholic, or something like that. And in those religions, if you kill yourself, you don't get to heaven, basically, which is like probably the worst thing you can do.
Oh, dang. I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of the main reasons. Also, if it's a movie made for Americans, people don't respond well to suicide on screen.
Yeah, definitely.
As like audience members, people are just like, oh no, like why would you
I don't
want to
watch
Which
this.
is ironic considering you have like very violent things happening in this film. But a quick interjection, the movie is called The Hunt.
Okay.
Oh,
which
wow.
came out this year, and it stars Betty Gilpin as Crystal Creasy, and she is like the ex-war vet, and she also plays Liberty Bell on Glow, which is such a character switch.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like this giddy, like very happy person in that show who's like a control freak, and then in this movie, she's like the complete opposite. She's not very
Fucking
talkative.
badass.
Yeah, she's
she
very
got
very
shit
much badass.
done.
And this film did not do well.
Ooh.
Because The Hunt did not do well because people just didn't like the idea. They're like, it's too relevant. We don't want to see a movie about rich people hunting poor people. Like, this is not what's like. We don't need this movie right now.
Don't remind me what kind of country we live in.
Was it like released during COVID time though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That also might have to do a thing with it.
Yeah, that's why it went like straight to, I think, DVD at some point.
Right, because not many theaters were open.
Yeah.
We were only able to see it because the drive-ins were open.
Yeah, drive-in had it. We watched that one and then another one with
Becky.
We watched Becky, which was dope.
Yeah, like this little girl takes out a couple home invaders.
Yeah.
Hey, it says Glenn Howerton's in there.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, sorry, I just had to bring it up.
Any other final questions before we wrap it up?
I have one question. The relationship with the teacher. It's a big elephant in the room. It's kind of creepy with like that one with Nanahara's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Like how they like have the conversations where they're eating popsicles together, they dream about each other. He makes the weird painting with all the dead kids and her in the middle of it. Like, what did you feel about this? Like he has a water gun. He doesn't really want to kill any of them.
He does have a real gun, but he doesn't use it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
He eats her cookies the entire film.
I feel like this was sort of commentary on showing kindness to even people that you wouldn't normally show kindness to because you don't really know what people are capable of. I feel like that was a big theme throughout this movie is not knowing what people could possibly do. By extending kindness, you might prevent something from happening. And in that case, she did extend kindness to him. But, you know how that played out.
Yeah, and he did go in the game midway to give her an umbrella.
That was weird.
But playing off the you don't know the capabilities that people have. Let's just talk about the nerd that appears with a gun going A equals AX 7B squared plus 1 and then fires. You never know.
I took it as that because she was such an innocent person in this whole situation that she was like that pure character. And like that's kind of what happens in film, where the pure like virginal character usually gets to survive the ending of the film because she didn't do anything that was like considered sinful or like bad, in the same way that people who have sex in films usually die in horror films. So that's what I had taken off of it.
Could also be an implied student-teacher relationship.
Also
going
inappropriate
on.
relationship.
That's what I was feeling. But then we see like the scene with them eating the popsicles, and she I think it's like kind of that thing that Justine was saying. It's just like she was nice to him while all the kids were fucking terrible.
Well, he
to him.
said his own kids hate him at some point.
Like, okay, that scene though where she goes to school and there's nobody there, and it says we're not coming to class because we don't want to. And he was in that moment. That was probably the moment where he's like, "This person's pure. This person's nice."
Yeah, because they actually came to class, and then they, were talking with him, trying to understand what was going on, versus just judging at face value, just trying to see the person behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys have any favorite scenes from either films? For myself, in the Belko experiment, I'd have to say when the stoners are like taking out the bombs. Like, I thought it was such a good idea.
It was a good idea.
And I just like their characters all around. I think Sean Gunn is a really fun actor. Like, he's pretty funny in Guardians of the Galaxy. So his whole dynamic with him just like freaking out, thinking things are in his head, I just like that a lot. And then in Battle Royale, the entire lighthouse scene, just I will never forget that.
I think my favorite moment out of both movies was the scene in Battle Royale. After the guy gets shot a bunch of times by Crazy Hair Dude, exposes that he has a bulletproof vest on, and then Crazy Hair Dude pops off the roof with a katana or some sort of sword. I love that. What a twist.
I see. So you've got the kid with the white helmet cruising around, and then Psycho Hair Boy lops his head off and throws his head into the house with the grenade in it. That was pretty great. I honorable mention for the lighthouse scene, but I didn't want to take Murs.
Right, same.
So,
That's a really
I don't
dope
want to
scene.
take Murs, so we'll go with that. And then Belko experiment. Either Boomer Dad coming in with a Molotov cocktails out of fucking nowhere, just like, this dude means business right now. Let's go. I loved that. That was pretty great. And there's a bunch of like good Belko experiment ones though. Yeah, and there's that scene with Evan, the security guard.
Rest
okay.
in peace.
Yeah,
our
for
boy.
Real. In the Belko experiment is probably when Wendell got the axe to the face.
Yeah, that's a great fucking effect.
They do like a zoom in to like the head getting crushed, so some good special effects.
That was so satisfying. I love seeing creeps get their heads crushed.
Yes,
that's my
extremely.
The great thing they did with that character is they never had a moment where he ever got to like play out his creepiness on anyone. Really,
yeah, exactly.
Rather he was just kind of yeah, exactly. And so he never got the opportunity. They never did that in the movie at all. They just fucking killed him because he's being a creeper. It's great.
Yep. And they also showed that in the end, he ended up begging for his life. He wasn't quite as badass as most people thought he would be.
Like a fucking simp.
Like a fucking pervert. Ugh. Don't call me a pervert.
With a knife to her throat. Yeah, that was... Or I think it was a butcher knife in that scene.
Yeah.
Just like, what? Okay. And then for Battle Royale, there was a lot of shit in there that was really good. Mm-hmm. But I think it was like just really early on, the kid who runs out first, who has the crossbow, he didn't continue running. He stayed out there to just off people immediately when they came out. So I was just like, dang, this kid really was like, I'm about to murder people as soon as they come out the building.
He was the fat kid, right?
Yeah.
He was also top of the class. So, I mean, it would have been a good strategy if he had hit himself better. I'm just saying.
There's also that one moment where he's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, he even asks himself that.
Yeah.
Yep. Fucks up. The other kid shoots him, and then he just takes the crossbow from him.
That scene is so fucking weird because he's just like, "Oh, you dropped this?
Yeah,
here you go, buddy."
Like,
all innocent.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
I think it also goes to show how much the first guy was unprepared for the situation. Considering he was top of the class, I'm not making any assumptions about people who do well in school, but they tend to be more sheltered. I want to
Yeah.
say, just the way the system is set up. And he probably didn't have that much life experience. Not a whole lot of bad things happened to him. Versus the people who are lower in the class tend to be more of like, they came from harsher backgrounds, you know?
Right. That's
But in
what
a way, they
getting
were
at.
also more prepared for the situation because they had been through traumatic events before.
That's true. It played into their backstories too. Like you had a reason why they were pretty ruthless.
Right, like Scythe Girl, you know, she been through some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real. Holy shit.
I was gonna say honorable mention is when like she gets introduced and you see her with the flashlight, like who's there, and it flashes on her face and she just smiles so creepily.
I know, I was like, this bitch is up to something. I don't trust you.
Are you here all alone? I was like, that was a great scene. How like
Yeah.
she grabs her, she's like, what's your weapon? Oh, I got this scythe. I thought it wouldn't really do much, but I want to fucking win. You know?
Yeah. Goddamn.
And slits her throat.
The other scene I liked, which was hilarious, but it shouldn't have been funny, was when the exchange student with the crazy hair who was carrying like the Uzi half the movie,
Yeah.
how he gets the weapon.
Yo!
He shows up to the group of dudes who think they're all badass, and he's like,
He has like a little paper fan with
yeah,
him.
he has a fucking fan in his bag, so he's like, I gotta get myself some more weapons. And they all fuck up. Like, they all fuck up in that moment. He steals the gun, shoots everybody, and then the girl who's there, she's like, why? And then he kills her too, and then takes all their shit.
Dude gets 5 kills in like
Yeah.
2 seconds.
You're like, oh, all right,
He
dealing
means
with
business.
yeah, that's how. And then he just goes on a killing spree the rest of the movie.
some good fucking action in this movie. What would you guys rate the films? I'm gonna give Battle Royale an 8. I'm gonna give Belko a 6.
I also give Belko Experiment a 6 and Battle Royale like an 8.
I would give Belko Experiment a 6 and Battle Royale like a 7.
Belko Experiment, I'll go with a 6.5.
Ooh.
Just a little bit. It was a fun premise. I liked that a lot. And Battle Royale, I'll stick with an 8. I'll go with the majority of the group, and I'll stick with an 8 for that one. That one was definitely really enjoyable.
It's a very memorable film,
Well, it's original.
and it's very original. So like when you see it for the first time, you're gonna remember it. It's just not something that you just throw away. You kind of think about Battle Royale every now and then because you think about human nature from time to time, and like it comes into part with how you're dealing with things in society. So I think that's pretty much all I got to say. I enjoyed both these films. Thanks for watching them.
Shit. Okay.
You want to do the ending bit?
Do the thing.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do the ending bit.
Well, okay. I think that's about it. So if you would like to check out our social medias, we are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We also have all of our episodes on the streaming sites, that being Spotify, Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and now YouTube, as well as Stitcher and other places.
iHeartRadio as well.
iHeartRadio as well. Please make sure to leave us a review on our Apple Podcast. Give us a good review because it does help us out and helps more viewers get to us. And if you can, leave us a comment on any of our Instagram posts about movies that you like or movies that you thought. Maybe you disagree with us. Maybe you agree with us on some points, but every little bit of criticism helps us with the podcast. And also make sure to subscribe to our Patreon,
Woohoo!
which we have bonus content from all of the cast members, as well as bonus features like snippets and bloopers before the show begins, as well as the outlines that we use for our episodes. And I hope everyone has a good night. And thank you for coming here to my house to record this episode with me.
Your house.
Wait a second.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jonathan. Thank you.
It's a good episode.